Welcome back to A Moment in History. I'm Seth Udinsky. In this segment, let's explore one of the strangest historical landmarks in world history. This landmark is one of the oldest in the world, and it stands in much the same way as it has done for thousands of years. Historians have argued and been subsequently baffled by this strange collection of rocks in Wiltshire, England. Let's go back thousands of years and explore the circle of stones in England known as Stonehenge. Well, you've probably seen pictures of this historical landmark. You recall that it is a circular group of giant stones with strange openings between them. As we study this landmark, several questions come to mind, and we may not be able to find a complete answer to them, but let's ask anyway. The first question is this: what is Stonehenge? Historians tend to assume that it is most likely either served as a burial site or perhaps another religious site for pre-Christian Northern European tribes. It could have been a place where Druids would have gathered to observe ancient pagan rituals. But even so, there's not complete evidence for this, as the stones predate the Roman occupation of Britain, a time period where we find substantial evidence about the culture of ancient England. And add that to the fact that some of the evidence comes from the reality that certain modern pagan groups use Stonehenge today to observe the summer and winter solstice. Perhaps that is because Stonehenge was used this way for millennia, or maybe it just seems like a place where it could have happened. Historians also argue that the structure we see today is ruins of the original, meaning the original could have looked vastly different and served as some kind of temple or public location. Now, the second question: when was Stonehenge constructed? This is perhaps even more difficult to answer than the first. The exact date is almost impossible to pinpoint, but historians have come to a consensus that Stonehenge was constructed sometime in the early 4th millennium BC, or roughly 3,000 years before the birth of Christ. This could mean that Stonehenge was constructed not long after the creation, fall, and the flood. We may never know the true purpose of Stonehenge, but you know that in and of itself is proof positive of the victory of Christianity. You see, Christianity is inseparable from the fabric of English history, so much so that mystery shrouds the days before Christianity reached the British Isles in the later Roman period. Well, the mystery of Stonehenge's past is unsolved, but it remains one of the most fascinating pieces of cultural history in the Western world. Thanks so much for joining me once again for A Moment in History.